For years, I would go out and I would try to start this mower during the spring, and the battery would be dead or it would sputter and die. But what I've learned is that the issues that happen in the spring are actually created during the winter, and they can actually be prevented during the fall, which happens to be right now. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the different preventative maintenance things that you can do during the fall to make this spring startup later on a lot better. So the first problem is your fuel, okay? So stale fuel is always a problem in the spring. So this year, I'm not going to have those same problems because here's what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm going to put fuel stabilizer into the fuel. And I'm not going to just dump this in here and then put it in the garage. I'm actually going to dump this in the last can that I'm going to use. I've got about one more mow on this yard. And so what I'm going to do is that will allow that to run through the system so that when I park it, I can do that. Now, you could also drain the tank or anything, but in my opinion, this is just much simpler. So my next mistake was dirty oil. Now, when it comes to changing your oil, a lot of times we want to do this again during the spring. But the thing is, I didn't realize this, but actually old dirty oil sitting in here, it's actually more acidic, it's more corrosive, it's harder on your components, and it's just going to sit there for the next 4 or 5 months. And we don't really want that. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm actually going to change the oil before I put this thing to sleep. So the next one, honestly, would get me every year, and it's one of the simplest ones to avoid. It's your battery. So every year this thing, would do the whole click, 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 or it wouldn't start. I'd have to charge it in the whole 9 yards. Well, this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook the negative battery terminal. Now, before I do that, I'm going to have to clean up these components because they're looking a little corroded and rough. And so if yours looks like that, you're going to want to take care of that. But disconnect that negative terminal. That's going to help prevent it from draining that battery. If you really want to step it up to the next level, get a small trickle charger and put it on a trickle charger all winter long, and it will definitely be ready come spring. So next up, we've got the deck of your mower. Now, we kind of forget about this, but like on this one here has a lot of grass on top of it. And right now I can go in this crevice right here. I can dig this out. That's wet right there. I haven't mowed in a week, and that's still moist and wet in there. So you want to get all of this stuff cleaned up before you park it for good. Also, this guard right here around this pulley, I take this and I will unhook it. Just got a couple of bolts in there. Take this and take it loose because there's a ton of stuff packed away in there as well. Underneath this deck, you're going to want to get in there, try to make sure that everything's clean. A lot of times you may want to take this and pull it up on top of something where you can kind of get under there a little bit easier and look at it, but just make sure you don't have a bunch of old wet grass caked up in there that's going to rust this thing out, because you rust this thing out, now you got real problems. All right, so now all we got left pretty much is we got some grease certs up around the spindles. Now, technically, I guess you wouldn't have to do those, but at this point, why not? You've pretty much done everything else. So that's fairly simple. I'll also change out the fuel filter and the air filter. I usually get one of those tune-up kits and throw those on. They're pretty cheap. Now, you might be wondering, why have I not done anything with the blades? I didn't sharpen them. I didn't replace them. Honestly, that's a springtime Jeremy problem. I'll deal with that later. I hate getting up underneath there and dealing with that. They're just kind of hard to change out and get to. So I'll deal with that in several months. What I really want to know, though, is honestly, this whole fall maintenance thing, is this something that you've always done, or is it something that you're like me and you're like, man, that's actually not a bad idea, or do you feel like it's dumb? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below.